Whenever people talk about the best redemptions in anime, there's one character who is often left out, despite being absolutely worthy. A man who had so much riz that he pulled a chick that he had literally crucified in their first meeting. If that's not Aura, I don't know what is. That man is Gajiel, and he's the best redemption no one talks about. When Gajiel is first introduced, he's the most brutal villain we'd seen in Fairy Tail to that point. He and his guild Phantom Lord want to capture Fairy Tail's Lucy Heartfilia. So how do they make their intentions known? The aforementioned crucifixion. He posts up Fairy Tail guild members Jet, Droy, and Levi like they're Jesus. Fairy Tail is understandably crashing out and declare war on Phantom Lord. It doesn't go great. When Gajiel joins the fight, we learn he, like the lead Natsu, is a dragon slayer, and he lives up to that title fully. When Fairy Tail retreats, he's a huge reason why, and while they're licking their wounds, he captures Lucy himself. So now what? Gajiel is supposed to watch her while the guilds fight, but that's not any fun. He loves being part of the action, so he kills time by torturing Lucy for fun. The sadism here is wild. Eventually he and Natsu face off again, and for most of this fight, they're about even. But then this dude starts eating metal and levels up. I don't care what you say, Gajiel has one of the coolest looks and powers out there, but he also has a fatal flaw. He's too reliant on himself. It's why he loses to Natsu, who has Lucy to back him up. This is a humiliating loss. Not only has an Iron Dragon Slayer lost to a Fire Dragon Slayer, his entire guild is defeated and is forced to disband. Well, now what? He's standing there looking at what remains of his former guild. This was his home. He has no family. He doesn't really even have friends. He has nowhere to go. This isn't anything new either. He's used to having no one around him. He was abandoned before when the dragon who raised him vanished out of nowhere. It's Fairy Tail's master Makarov who approaches him. He tells Gajiel that Juvia, another Phantom Lord member, has joined Fairy Tail, and he's visibly frustrated by this. How can you join the enemy like that? This is KD going to the Warriors all over again. But then Makarov makes the same offer to Gajiel. After all the harm he's caused, how could the master do this? But if you think about it, that's what he's always done. Fairy Tail is a place for the broken, a place anyone can call home. When Gajiel accepts, there's a few things going through your mind. Was this his only option, and now he can use their strength to his benefit? Or does he really want to move forward in life? Was he touched by the compassion of the master like so many others were? Or is this the beginning of a future betrayal? We don't know. What we do know is he's given a mission to go find Makarov's son Ivan, someone who had been banished from the guild. That's when we learn, under Ivan's orders, Gajiel has infiltrated Fairy Tail. He's a traitor. But betraying his new guild might be difficult because no one has any reason to trust him. He's distant from others, and they keep their distance from him. Get on his bad side, and he's hostile. There's an interview that gives a really good insight into his mind. He says he has no dreams for the future and doesn't have a good relationship with anyone in the guild. Anytime he enters the room, Levi cowers in fear of him. It gets to the point that Jet and Droy can't put up with it anymore. This dude crucified them and then was admitted into their guild. It's a slap in the face. They want the revenge, and they want it now. So they pick a fight with Gajiel, which is kind of hilarious. Imagine Hawkeye trying to bully Thanos. But what's odd is he's not fighting back at all. He's letting them vent their frustrations on him, blow by blow. Is that all part of his plan, or is something else going on here? That's when Makarov's grandson Loxus returns, and he's the biggest bully in the guild. He heard about what happened with Phantom Lord, and he's not happy. Loxus beats the piss out of Gajiel to the point that even Jet and Droy are disturbed by it. Still, Gajiel refuses to fight back. Loxus wasn't even there when he invaded. What does Gajiel gain from this? Loxus's frustration boils over and he shoots his lightning at Levi, and it's Gajiel who jumps in the way to take the blast. Loxus attacking one of his guildmates would have had the guild in chaos, and yet Gajiel still chose to protect her, then just walks away after his beating is over. This has to go beyond an act at this point, right? This was penance for prior actions. It also changes the perception of how Levi sees him. Gajiel stood no chance in hell of defeating Loxus. They are on completely different levels, and yet he wounded himself to save her. Not only that, he puts on a sick jazz performance too. Easy to win you over that way. After this, Loxus launches his own little battle against the guild and thus begins the Battle of Fairy Tail. He believes the master has gone soft and it's time to put the boomer down. The whole town is in chaos over his game, and in the middle of potentially the most important battle of the whole thing, Natsu vs Loxus, Gajiel arrives and you're like, oh great, now what's gonna happen? If there's anyone he hates more than Loxus, it's Natsu. Yet it's Gajiel's idea to work together to defend Fairy Tail. Natsu is reluctant, but really he has no choice. Loxus is too strong. So together they fight, which a few episodes ago would have been ludicrous to see. It comes down to the final blow, and again, Gajiel takes a metaphorical bullet for Fairy Tail, protecting Natsu so he can continue on and win the fight. So either Gajiel is being swayed by the power of friendship, or he's putting on a DiCaprio-level performance, and shortly after, we get our answer. He speaks with Makarov and passes along a note. He's not a traitor working for Ivan, he's been a double agent this entire time. He's Fairy Tail through and through. In such a quick span of time, he's been a sadistic villain, a lonely man clearly full of guilt, and someone who's made the effort to endear himself to the guild, not with words, but action. But just because he has accepted the guild doesn't mean the reverse is true. Plus, he's still gotta pull the girl he crucified. A telling part of his character actually starts as a gag. Once Wendy joins the guild, he starts getting jealous that the other Dragon Slayers all have cats and he doesn't. But it's not about owning a cat, it's about feeling left out. Remember the interview? He doesn't have a good relationship with anyone in the guild. No one makes him feel like he belongs. He doesn't have a friend on the level of what Natsu has with Happy or what Wendy has with Carla. So let's make it happen. Everyone in Fairy Tail gets transported to another world referred to as Edolis. There we see alternate versions of everyone, and their version of Gajiel is hilariously a really respectable journalist. Wish we had one of those nowadays here. The important part of going to this world is that he comes face to face with this beast, Panther Lily. What's Gajiel's top priority here? Defeat Lily and make him his cat. Which is exactly what happens, and again, this seems like a gag, but it is meaningful. Lily becomes exactly what Gajiel was looking for, a close friend and someone who has his back. When it's time to compete to see which Fairy Tail members can become S-Class wizards, Gajiel is passed over. He hasn't earned enough goodwill for that. Levi, however, is selected, and it's up to her to pick a +1. Now that he has someone who really has his back, it's time for him to make his amends. For Jet and Droy, he let them pummel him with no retribution, but I don't think he believes he's done enough for Levi yet. She could pick Jet or Droy to be her partner. Instead, Gajiel takes the assertive approach and recommends himself. He's strong, so it would help her chances of succeeding, which prompts Gajiel to tell her, don't worry, I'll make you strong. But he's still an abrasive guy, and eventually she can't put up with it anymore, which leads to her running off. This directly puts her in danger because she encounters invading wizards from a dark guild. This is when we see a new side of him. Before, he'd been messing around. Now that there is an imminent threat, he gets serious. He tells Levi, don't leave my side. The situation gets out of hand and he realizes he can't protect her as things are. He tells her to run and let the others know what's happening. This is a subtle change from before. We've seen him show the ability to be loyal to a guild. We saw it with Phantom Lord and Fairy Tail. But this is different. It's loyalty to Levi. It's the most selfless thing he's done. He doesn't know if he's going to win the fight, yet he's prioritizing her safety over his own. It's really satisfying to see him struggle to win and then scream he's part of Fairy Tail before passing out, and his loyalty to Levi pays dividends. She comes back for him. She carries his unconscious body despite being twice her size. Then, he along with everyone else on the island are frozen in time for 7 years due to an attack by Acnologia. The next arc, the Grand Magic Games, is important for Gajiel. His story so far has been about being accepted, gaining allies, and proving his loyalty within the guild. Now it's time for him to express that loyalty to the world. While most people would gravitate towards his battle with Rogue because he gets this badass shadow form, or the Battle of the Twin Dragons, that's not what I remember about him most here. The moment I think of first is his most embarrassing event. All Dragon Slayers have the weakness of motion sickness. He's on this trolley battling to not finish in last place in the event, and he looks ridiculous. But like Natsu, he's trying so hard to finish, even if only for 1 point. And it's not for himself, it's for the people that were left behind. Those Fairy Tail members that weren't stuck on Tenro and who suffered in his absence. His drive is for them. The shadow form is more badass, but this moment had more purpose behind it. It's also worth noting that Levi watches all of his matches intently. The Rogue fight is telling too though. All this time, Rogue has acted like he admired Gagiel, but Gagiel rejects that notion. He wasn't a man worth admiring, so it must have been fear instead. And this fight is about protecting Rogue from going down the path he was on. How much more thematic can you get? He literally expels the darkness out of his foe. Talk about a 180. In Tartaros, we get one of his most important fights with the demon Tora Fuzar. It's here that we see explicitly how much guilt he holds onto for his prior actions. Long before he even joined Fairy Tail, a councilwoman had tried guiding him down a better path, telling him his life could have true meaning. She was murdered by Tartaros, and that's his failure to hold on to. But her words stuck with him, and he's tried honoring them. But Tora Fuzar is a tough opponent. He surrounds the entire area in poison water. Gagiel struggles before beginning to fade. He says, "So this is how I die?" And you can feel his regret as he's plunging into darkness. But then he sees light. Levi. She kisses him, giving him air to survive. I think this was eye-opening for him. The person he'd harmed the most put herself in danger to keep him alive. It's unlike anything he's ever experienced before. He's done it for others, but no one has done it for him. Before this, I don't think he believed he was worthy of her affection, but this changed everything. When Tora Fuzar goes after her, he protects her, screaming, "Don't touch her." So the Iron Dragon Slayer faces this steel dragon-looking demon, but because of Levi, he succeeds. I also found it fitting that when Lucy is completely out of energy and about to be picked off by a demon, it's Gagiel who is the first person to come and defend her. Tartaros as an arc features more torture than any other in Fairy Tail, and Gagiel once tortured Lucy. Now he's defending her from people who would do the same. It all comes full circle. Oh, and it turns out he wasn't abandoned by his dragon, he was saved by him. He used his essence to keep Gagiel from becoming a dragon. It was love, not abandonment. And while I find it more funny than anything, it is pretty fitting that he of all characters basically becomes a cop, a nod to that councilwoman. In the Alvarez arc, we get finality. He's fighting an opponent named Bradman, who's infesting the air with poison. Levi had come to save him, but now her life is in peril. Earlier in life, he would have walked away from a situation like this, but now the only thing that matters is protecting her. So like Loxus did before him, Gagiel consumes the poison himself to keep others from being infected. Unlike Loxus, this also allows him to level up and his iron becomes steel. In a last-ditch effort, Bradman grabs Gagiel and holds him as he opens a portal to eternal torment. Talk about ominous. Levi tries to save him, but he screams at her to stay away. The poison would kill her. Lily knows what's in Gagiel's heart, and he grabs Levi, keeping her from getting too close. Gagiel used to be a real bad guy, but she taught him to see the good in others, to be better. He realized even he is capable of love. Remember how he didn't have a dream for the future? His dream now is to be with Levi. She is the meaning the councilwoman said he would find. She changed how he viewed life. He thought of a future, a family, with her, and losing that future is the most terrifying thing he's ever experienced. So he's going to leave it to her. Live enough for both of them. Here, the loner, the sadist, the potential traitor, ends up being the first major character to confess his love, and then he's gone. Initially, I thought this would be an excellent conclusion to his story. Giving his life for the person he made suffer sounds great thematically. But his story isn't about sacrifice. It's about overcoming loneliness. Dying for the woman he loves sounds great until you realize he's just hurting her again. The real strength of the story is him being allowed to live his dream, to settle down and start a family, things no one would have ever expected to see from him. To go from a fight-seeking villain to a father who only fights to protect. That's why he had to live. So yeah, he puts a baby in her, and protecting that is one of the more memorable moments in 100 Year Quest. Look, Gagiel is cool as hell. He's the Vegeta of Fairy Tail, a ruthless badass with a cool form who grows tremendously and then ends up settling down and starting a family. But part of why his redemption is meaningful to me is a lot of characters get redeemed and go, hey, I'm good now, guess my character's done growing. That's not the case here at all. Gajiel's character keeps progressing even after he's redeemed because he's found a new purpose in his life, and it makes him feel different. It's poetic that a man who knew so much loneliness ends up being so surrounded by love, that a man with no dream found one, and not enough people talk about it. Now subscribe or get crucified.